So guys, Wednesday night, it's 25 degrees, considerably warmer. Several inches of snow now. Uh, Shop will be closed down tomorrow. Most of our girls won't be able to make it in, so we will probably work Saturday and Sunday. Things should be cleared up. Um, I'm not here to tell you I told you so. I'm here to say that if you've listened to me, watched any of my videos over the last year or so, I've been saying over and over, shit's changing, right? Weather patterns are changing, grand solar minimum, whatever you want to believe, right? But the outcome's the same. Solar patterns aren't changing, solar patterns are changing. Growing temperature zones and growing zones are changing and altering. Maybe they're not, whatever. But the outcome is still the same. You were having snow, world record 300-year snowfall in places that have never had snow, 300-year snowfall that's collapsing buildings in Japan. Just records, right? You have all this stuff going on in Texas. Well, they switched to green energy. They did. That's not necessarily the full problem, though. The problem is they switched to green energy and it wasn't weatherized because they don't have weather like that in Texas. You have buildings collapsing, you have roofs collapsing, you have pipes breaking, you've got all kinds of shit going on right now. The outcome is the same. So with that, I say in a couple days, this shit will pass. Maybe it's not to you yet and you still have the opportunity to prepare for it. Maybe you're in the middle of it and it's going to go away in a couple days, but it's going to come again is the point. So if you need to cut firewood, cut firewood. If you need to get propane tanks, get propane tanks. You need to fill up your truck with fuel, whatever you got to do. When your power goes out, you have a huge power source sitting in your driveway if you own an inverter. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff. The snow, I've never had snow. Of course it snowed in Tennessee. I've never had powdery snow like this. Like you could literally ski on this snow. If I had skis right now, I could ski out here on, I guess I probably would if I had some skis right now. I would put them on and go out there and ski on the hill. It'd be a lot of walking and a little bit of skiing. But the point is, we all talk about this, right? I made a video, and if you look on YouTube, there's some dudes, there's a lot of thumbs downs on it. And there's some dudes literally talking shit. I commented to a couple of them and they've deleted their posts. I don't know what that shit's about, but it struck a nerve, right? They never said anything I said was wrong. They didn't agree with it. They just wanted to come out and talk shit about how, you know, none of us are prepared and blah, blah, blah. I never said I was prepared. I never said that what I've done it makes me any better than you. My biggest preparation 15 years ago was leaving San Diego and moving to Tennessee. People still grow stuff in the ground here. We've done a lot of stuff this year because in the beginning of all the control virus, the COVIDiots and stuff, we weren't sure what that really was. You know, it might have been real back then. So we just prepared for that. A lot of the stuff that we do on a daily basis that is just normal part of life here is huge prep stuff for other people. And a lot of what we do doesn't cost anything. Like, it costs very little to nothing. While the water runs and comes out of your faucet, it's free to put it in bottles. You don't have to buy special shit to do that. My aquaponics system's a little bit froze. Well, it's a lot froze. We turned the pumps off. These pipes might break. I don't know. I still got bubblers going in all the tanks. I still have electricity somewhere down there is a stock tank heater. It's obviously undergunned, and over time it has lowered the temperature. Fish might be dead in there. I don't know. We might have lost some butterfly koi. If we did, we'll start over. Really, I'd like to have this area right here for a walk-in freezer. And really, I need the generator, the big generator over here. And I'd like to add on to the building in this direction. So this is kind of not a great place for this, but that'll just make us, we'll lose the water, in which case it won't take anything to relocate this at that point. Greenhouse is faring very well. Would the round one? Probably the normal, the one that costs a little bit less, well, considerably less. But I got the Gothic Arch for the brace kit and extra poles and the high rise and all the stuff because we're adding more of these greenhouses. We're adding more row houses, and I wanted to make sure we had one that would take care of us and those around us immediately. Anything else past that is just a bonus that we can barter, sell, trade, grow stuff for the animals, whatever in, right? And that was something somebody had said, like, as soon as the power goes out, you're out of business. You can't buy cars, and you can't buy this and that. The cars, every time I bought a car, it boosted traffic 10 times. I made 10 times the money from what I paid for the car just because of dudes talking shit about it, or guys that are like, hey, welcome to the club. It was just eyeballs. It was advertising. And we literally wrote all that shit off as advertising. People just have such a perception, because rather than do what it takes to get that, or they don't like how I say things or whatever it is, there's 10 more things behind there. I am 10 steps ahead of that by the time you see it happen. Everything it's planned out. Like, there's a reason behind all of it. And if the power went out, I've been saying that for the last 3 years. You guys have heard me say when the power goes out, right? Guys say when the zombies come. That's just fun. That's code. So you don't look like a crazy prepper, but you really are a crazy prepper, right? But that's something you say with your spouse or your friends when the zombies come. You don't say when society collapses and we got to kill all the fucking crackheads coming across the fence. You don't say that. You say when the power goes out, when the zombies come, right? We will farm. Like, that's what we'll do. Everything, all the extra money, all the infrastructure, everything I've put into the business and the property here to sustain business, that will all benefit when this business stops, if commerce stopped, right? If the mail didn't run, we would do things differently until the mail resumed, or horse, delivered mail, the Pony Express started, or whatever it is. There's three folds to every facet that you see. You see one thing because you're not looking to the left and the right and 6 months down the road, right? You're just seeing the thing, and you're like, good for John, or fuck John, or whatever. But you all feel some kind of way, and it all allows me to do all the other things and put things in place for the people around us. Like, we're bringing in all these cabins, these sheds, and the septic tank. I'm not living in those motherfuckers. What do you think those are for? Probably not for you. Most of you guys are like, I'm coming to you. Don't come to us. Have a plan, meet some friends, get a group, start training with 3 guys, take your 3 guys and put it together to 6, make 9, 12, take your 2 12s, put it together, make 24, train together once a month in that manner, train every weekend as 3, whatever you have to do to make it work. But everybody's so busy talking, and we see all this crazy shit happening in this humanitarian crisis, right? Guys that have storms, that's just kind of normal. I mean, it's terrible. It's fucking 32 degrees. Guys are waking up. Sleep in your car, not in your garage, right? There's a lot of things you can do. Imagine had they stopped and thought a week ago, man, maybe I should buy some propane and a buddy heater. Maybe I should buy some kerosene and a kerosene heater. I know when I was in San Diego, we could find buddy heaters, but you couldn't find a kerosene heater. We were buying them at flea markets. I didn't know anything about them, and I couldn't even buy kerosene. They just didn't have it in San Diego. Here, you can buy it out of a gas pump at the gas stations. But if you're watching me, you've heard me say the weather's changing. We can fight and disagree over why the weather's changing, but you can't deny that the weather is changing. Stop and think about that. If it's on the way to you, go get you some extra shit that you need. If you're in the middle of it, make a list of the things you wish you had. Also, the things that you have that you didn't need, make a list of that too. Stop, just make some lists and reorganize it. If it's cold where you're at, move everybody into one room. Hopefully you have a heat source in that room. Put your mattresses in that room. Put blankets over any windows, walls, doorways, comforters. Take all of the bedding and bring it in and just wall that off and live in that tent until things get a little warmer, right? There's a lot of things that are so simple that people just don't think about. There's some terrible shit going on. I think the politics of it are going to make it even worse soon. You're already seeing, well, that's a whole nother video. Imagine if you were being hunted while this was happening, right? Imagine if they said, when you need assistance or when it comes time for your insurance to pay, and they decide, well, you voted for the wrong person, so you don't get assistance. That's happening with banking right now. People's business accounts are being shut off. Their merchant accounts are being shut off. There's literally going to have to be 2 economies and almost 2 governments. Decide which side you're on, and if you're not on a side, I think you're going to find that you're going to have to pick a side. You can pick the side that takes and steals from other people to give to those that don't provide for themselves, or you could be on the side that just provides for themselves and then you don't have to rely on other people, right? Those groups are going to probably split and become 2 completely separate entities. The people that provide for each other, they just want to be left alone. They don't want to be stolen from. They help a lot of people. We just choose who we help. It's fucking beautiful out here. It is. I see why Rob moved to Montana. Rob Bailey. You watch his videos. It is absolutely beautiful. This powder just crunches under your feet. I've been skiing a lot. Never fresh snowfall, right? All my skiing was California, mostly like man-made snow. There was some snow, but you'd usually get there the night afterwards. I've not stood out in the snow like this on property that I owned. And just, I'm not even getting, like, the snow's coming down. My phone is not wet. It is absolutely stunning out here. And there's like little cat tracks all over. I don't know if you can see them. And then in a few minutes, those tracks will be gone from the snow. It is just amazing out here right now. Build something for yourself, guys. Go someplace where you can do that. My biggest preparation was literally just leaving California. And I left California with almost nothing. Like, I'd done, prison, did 3 months of probation, and literally the day I was off probation, came out here, a day later rented a house, and then 30 days later we moved here. But when I left California and moved to Tennessee, my money literally tripled. All the regulations, all the people with their hands out, and all the taxing, and every time you turned around, you had to pay for this permit and pay for that permit. And I had the police called on me in San Diego for having firewood in my front yard. We were out in the canyon because we were going to the desert, here and there, and we'd take wood for firewood because we didn't have to buy it. I literally didn't have the cash to buy firewood, as silly as it sounds. Who buys firewood? Well, in California you do. And we were going out in the canyons, and there were these eucalyptus trees, and that had just fallen over, limbs and stuff. So we were taking them and cutting them up. That's where I learned how to use a chainsaw and an axe and a wood blaster and a maul. And had them stacked up. Had, just 4 or 5 stacks. We had a couple little rows around the edge of the yard, private property. And the police came up, and this old lady who apparently just drove around the neighborhood and reported things, and the police said that she had complained, and we had to move the wood. It was crazy. The same state that would write you a ticket if you had a vehicle in your backyard that could not be seen from the road, they just knew it was there. You had to pay to have it non-opt, which means you had to register the vehicle, even though it hadn't ran for 4 years and it was in your garage or in your backyard behind a gate, behind a fence, like a slat fence. You couldn't see it. You had to pay to have that sit there and had to have it registered as non-operational. Absolutely insane. There's none of that shit here. There's none of that here. We just do things, and if what you do doesn't negatively affect somebody else, nobody cares, because we're busy doing other shit. We're busy doing real shit. We don't have time for bureaucracy, and that's really what it comes down to, is bureaucracy. There is us who build things and produce and provide for our families, and there's the other side, which has to take from you and us and me in order for them to sustain themselves. Bureaucracy. 100 laws, all of which cross and overlap each other, and most do the same thing, but you've got 4, 5, 6 agencies all with their hand out that you have to give money to so that they can hold you down and take half of what you earn and then put all kinds of licensing fees and regulations on you, like doing business, right? You have some little business in your garage, nobody knows about it, but somebody fucking your neighbor sees a car come there every once a week or whatever, you know, just shit like that. So you have to have a you have to go get a business license, and then to get a business license, you have to have a bank account. To get a bank account, you have to do a doing business as, and in San Diego to do doing business as, you have to run an ad in a newspaper, and then you got to wait. I think it's 6 weeks or something. Like just crazy shit, right? And every maneuver you make, it takes you $1,000 to start a business. Not here in Tennessee. Not in a lot of states. Just do the business, make the money. Keep it quiet on the down low as long as you can. It's just freedom. And that's what I'm talking about. It's just people taking away from you so that they can give it to somebody else. Why would they do that, right? Why do 50, 60% of the population work for something that produces nothing and does nothing for anybody? Because they're buying votes. And then they get federal grant money, and they get money from places like that, and they're able to take part of the money. It's why your politicians have bank accounts with millions and millions, if not billions of dollars, but they've never worked a real job. They've just been politicians all their lives. They haven't produced anything. They don't have a going concern of any kind of business. It's because they are bought. It's corruption. And that's what you're seeing happen all over the place. You're about to see it happen hugely in Texas. Some people are going to be taken care of and some are not, and a lot of it's going to come down to literally who they voted for. You're seeing it happen right now, the difference between the federal level and the state level with all the shit in Florida. They're talking about travel bans to Florida because they wouldn't lock down for COVID, but the numbers show 4 times more sickness where they have crazy lockdowns. I don't know if you guys can see this. This cat was just standing up trying to get in the dumpster. I don't know what they're looking for. There must be something smelly in there. All right, guys. I'm going to go inside, and we'll do a live feed on Facebook at 9 o'clock. I do every night at 9 o'clock. Join us. I know a lot of you guys on YouTube are not on social media other than YouTube. Make a fake account. Just follow a couple of people that are important to you, that add value to you. And then you won't, everybody's so like, I get tied up in Facebook, and Facebook's such a suck of, from life. Well, make a new account and don't follow a bunch of people. That's the solution to that, because maybe there is some value. Well, I'm not using that system. They suppress our First Amendment. Use it to your benefit. Use it to your benefit. Being on Facebook, I have a lot of other backups also. MeWe. I hear Parler's back now. Locals, YouTube, Instagram, right? But Facebook is the main one. If everybody followed me on all the other ones, I would leave Facebook. But when I put Facebook on, I get 200 people on a video. When I put YouTube on, I get 20 people on a video. When I put Instagram on, I get 20 people on a video, right? So Facebook, unfortunately, is the majority of the revenue that pays my employees and feeds my family. So I'm going to get off of here. You guys have a great night. I hope that you are not in a bad situation right now. And I hope that you take some time tomorrow, the next day, this weekend, whatever, and just stop and think, right? I don't think we can deny that the weather is changing. Prepare for that, guys. Even if it's just buying blankets, getting all your comforters together. Even if you had to go buy used blankets from a thrift store or something. I'm sure those people in Texas would be glad to have that bullshit right now. And we have the ability to get that stuff. So be careful, guys.